Is the altcoin season canceled, or has it just been delayed after the continued sell off in the market? Plus, Raoul Pal shows us why he thinks this market could extend into Q2 2026, giving us a longer bull run. This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, altcoin.io, and as always, is not financial advice, and wish the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Also, make sure to join us for X Spaces Tuesday to Friday at 9 a.m. EST, link down below. All right, good morning, guys. So we just had some news come out. We had the final GDP quarter over quarter, and we also had unemployment claims this morning. And so you can see here in green, we actually beat unemployment claims, although it's not, by too much. It's kind of marginal. So we were expecting the forecast to be at around 233,000, jobless unemployment claims. The previous was 232, and we beat it. So we're at 218,000. So it just means there's a roughly around, 15,000 less unemployment claims. But the real number here is that the final GDP quarter over quarter is up to 3.8% from 3.3% previously. So we are at 0.5% on GDP growth. And so why that is actually not great. So we have data about GDP just came out better than expected in the forecast. You can see here GDP growth rate quarter over quarter is 3.8%. Actually, we need to see growth slowing and inflation cooling for the Fed to keep cutting rates. So this isn't great news. So it's kind of the situation where good news is bad news, because this means that the Fed might not want to cut rates next month. So we might get less rate cuts overall this year if the news in the, this data keeps coming out. And you can see here, it is heavily reflected in Bitcoin's price right now. Bitcoin not looking the best. Altcoins, you can see, are all down, multiple percentages today. So overall, altcoins look like they're getting slaughtered. Everything is just kind of not looking great right now. But I do think this leads to one kind of final shakeout before we head higher into October. So I do think, everyone is expecting us to go up in Q4. And I do think they are trying to shake everyone out before we ultimately go up. So what might happen is they, come maybe take out stops below here, below $110,000. Maybe they even try and take out a bunch of liquidity down here below $107,000. Take out all these stops before continuing back higher and going up like that. So it is a possibility now that it is a potential that the Fed won't cut rates, and it could be their catalyst that they need to send prices lower before ultimately going higher for the fourth quarter. And so that's what we're looking at today. Not too much to say other than that. It just kind of looks weak right here. And we're going to have to kind of wait and see what happens over the coming days. Then we have Crypto Russ saying we're about to get swamped with crypto ETFs. Bloomberg's ETF analyst James Seyffert says 100 plus new crypto ETFs could hit the market within the next 6 to 12 months. And he actually gave a good reasoning here with the Wolf of Wall Street's.
Basically, all this is, if you look back to 2019-ish time range, the SEC spent 5+ years going through this thing known as the ETF rule, Rule 6C11. And basically what it did was came up with generic listing standards for 1940 Act ETFs and basically streamlines the process so you don't have to go through that 19b4 process, which is like, it's a lot of work. They didn't want to do that for all of ETFs, but they never did it for these commodity-based shares. This is just streamlining everything, and we're going to get well over 100 ETFs in the crypto space in the next 6 to 12 months.
And then also Raoul Pal says the 4-year cycle is now the 5-year cycle. Bitcoin should peak in 2026, probably Q2, and he gave some pretty good reasons here.
Why is Bitcoin sort of not wildly off to the races yet? This is a detrended Bitcoin, and it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Remember, we've always said it's the business cycle stupid. It is always the business cycle stupid. And all of these people who claim it's the 4-year cycle based around this and that, they don't understand the fundamental of what the business cycle is, why there's a 4-year cycle in everything. And we've explained it, and we'll go through it in great detail tomorrow in our Everything Code presentation. But basically, it's following the ISM. And rates have been following the same pattern. You see, rates should have come lower. They need to come lower because we need to roll the debt. We've talked about this. That's part of the Everything Code, fundamental part. And ISM, because rates are so high, has meant that Main Street has been screwed while Wall Street's made money from debasement. Earnings versus scarce assets. This is the issue that they need to solve, and they need to get rates lower. They get rates lower. Why? Why do we have an elongated business cycle that looks like virtually no other other time? It's because, and I only just found this out redoing the work on the Everything Code recently, is that in 2021-22, they actually extended the maturity of the debt from 4 years to 5 years. So that extension of the maturity of debt has pushed out the business cycle a year. The 4-year cycle this time around is a 5-year cycle. We don't know what the next one will be until we see where they all end up getting refinanced, whether it comes back to 4 because they managed to get some stuff at the long end, or whether they shorten it because everything's in the short end. We don't know yet, but this one is a 5-year cycle. And this is what it looks like. 5.4-year sine curve. 5.4 years is the exact average weighted maturity of the debt. And it tells us the ISM should peak by 2026. We think liquidity probably peaks before that, as the rate of change of ISM changes and the rate of change of liquidity changes. Our best guess remains well into 2026, probably Q2.
And a quick shout out to Surge. It's this risk-free prediction game on Telegram where you just swipe to guess pump or dump, earn rewards, and pick up some market skills while you're at it. They've also just kicked off a weekly giveaway. It's super simple. Every week there's a coin of the week, and this week it's BNB. All you have to do is swipe to find it on the Surge app, screenshot it, and drop it under their tweet. One random reply wins $50 in USDT, so it's super easy. So check out Surge, have some fun swiping, and maybe snag some prizes along the way. And then moving on to Defi App, they said we're about to give every Defi App user $1,000 in bonus home token. Tomorrow, sign up or log in, then make a swap within 72 hours to secure it. It unlocks as you earn XP. Stake home to unlock it 3 times faster. More info below. So home is the Defi App's token, and Defi App is the crypto everything app. You can see here we've talked about them before. We can swap anything everywhere. Super easy crypto app. You have no KYC. You have self custody. You can buy crypto with Visa. You can leverage trade. You can swap super easy. Even your grandma can do it, which they're showing here. And so beginning September 25th, DeFi app users will receive $1,000 in bonus home when they log in or sign up and make a swap. This applies to everyone. New users get it the moment they create an account, and existing users will see it appear in their portfolio automatically. To secure it, you must complete a swap within 72 hours, and once secured, the bonus home is yours to unlock permanently. Eligible users receive $1,000 bonus home allocation, and the allocation is locked but claimable weekly as you use the app. Every trade you make earns XP. Every 10 XP unlocks 1 bonus home. And this campaign is designed to work alongside the home staking boost. Users who stake home get up to 3x XP multiplier, which means faster unlocks, cheaper unlocks, and higher airdrop allocation. If you're claiming the welcome home bonus, staking is the smartest way to unlock it. So as home giving away $1,000 to every user, and you can actually use our referral link down below to check it out and get this bonus. And then moving on, we have Coin Bureau saying Kazakhstan's stablecoin is now on Solana. The National Bank of Kazakhstan just launched its Tengen-backed stablecoin EVO KZTE, built in partnership with MasterCard and powered by Solana. We also have Solana Flora saying the total volume of tokenized real-world assets on Solana has surged to $671 million, a new all-time high. The surge came after $150 million of inflows into BlackRock's Biddle Fund on Solana. We also have Tap Tools saying the SEC has just approved the Hashdex NASDAQ Crypto Index US ETF to operate under new generic listing standards. This fund is now cleared to hold crypto assets beyond Bitcoin and ETH, including XRP, Solana, ADA, Link, and XLM. And we also have the Bitwise CIO Matthew Hogan saying Solana is purpose-built to tokenize stocks, bonds, ETFs the rails Wall Street could run on. So is Solana the new Wall Street? He said this.
Solana's the new Wall Street. Solana is the place that traditional firms in a regulated setting are going to tokenize stocks and bonds, etc. It's going to be competing in this market, of course, with other blockchains, including Ethereum, which is really leading a lot of the tokenization. But Solana is architected to be the new Wall Street. And that's a very big market indeed. So if you listen to SEC Chairman Paul Atkins and what he's been saying recently, he is telling you that all financial assets, stocks, bonds, etc., are going to move onto blockchain-based rails. If you listen to Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, he's telling you that all assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, are going to move onto blockchain-based rails. So for the last hundreds of years, we've been using traditional rails, first paper, and then digital exchange-specific rails at the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ and others. We're moving to an era where it's blockchain-based. And so your question is, which blockchain? And the two leading contenders are Ethereum and Solana. I use the phrase Solana is the new Wall Street because Solana is explicitly designed to capture that use case. Ethereum is well designed to capture many use cases, and tokenization is one of them. But Solana is architected to sort of serve that use case, and that's what it's trying to be. And I think that was a reasonable shot.
And then moving on to Sui, we have some pretty interesting updates here. We have Korea is about to get payments upgrade T-Order, the nation's #1 table ordering platform, is teaming up with Sui to roll out a KRW stablecoin payment at scale. 300,000 plus proof-of-stake devices, $4.3 billion in annual volume, powered by Sui and Walrus for speed, security, and on-chain data integrity. We also have something really cool here. Sui says, next generation health meets next gen blockchain. Kudus Wellness is expanding to Sui to build secure, transparent, and user-centric health experiences, from AI insights to blockchain-backed wearables. So you have here what looks like kind of like Sui's own version of an Oura ring. If you've seen those sleep tracking health rings, Sui has their own here with Kudus redefining health and data. And so they say how it uses the Sui stack. Walrus plus Seal secure and encrypt health data on-chain. Wallets on Sui power loyalty, rewards, and full control. Sui's primitives deliver scale, privacy, and usability. The result, an on-chain lifestyle where your health data is yours. Why it matters. Kudus turns everyday health data into something valuable. Own and view your own biometric data. Earn rewards for health habits. And monetize your data securely. Manage everything through Sui. So Kudus is doing this collaboration with Sui, and they're doing about 1,500 and about 119 have been sold so far. It's actually pretty sick because you have your Sui colors. You have sea, ocean, and aqua. And you can order these now, which is pretty cool. And we also have it Sui season. The Sui Group repurchased 276,000 shares under its new $50 million stock buyback program. And then moving on to Hyperliquid, we have Hyperliquid quietly dropped its own stablecoin and it's already making waves. So they have USDH supply now at $24 million in less than 24 hours. So USDH, the stablecoin issued by native markets, has gone live on Hyperliquid. So they won the stablecoin vote. With the USDH and USDC trading pair now available and early trading volumes of around 2.2 million. The issuer stated that reserves are fully backed by cash and short-term US treasuries, with an initial mix of off-chain management and on-chain allocation, along with transparency provided via Oracle feeds. We also have Max from Native Markets who says the next stage of Hyperliquid's ascendance will be driven by native stablecoins. We're honored to be leading the charge with USDH and look forward to showing up for the ecosystem every single day. And lastly, Hyperliquid's stablecoin USDH went live today, seeing nearly $2 million in early trading volume. That's a strong signal of initial traction, but day one numbers rarely tell a full story. Integrations across DeFi and trading venues will decide whether USDH scales beyond just hype. Now, Hyperliquid doesn't look great, but also the whole market looks pretty terrible today. So I can't just blame Hyperliquid. But overall, we were saying, I do expect a lot of these stops to get taken because it is super easy to take all these out because they're so close. So we have stops, below $42, which we hit. I'm sure we're going to hit this $40 one. And then I wouldn't surprise me if we went down towards 36 and then down towards 35. If we took out all these stops that were easy targets and then continued higher, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happened for Hyperliquid. So overall, it doesn't look too great. I'm not going to be buying right here, but also the whole market just looks pretty terrible today. So we're not doing too much on this. I think the market just needs to cool off. I think this is the final dump we're going to see before we continue higher. But I do think it's probably going to be a bit nastier. We're probably going to head back down towards this $35 range. I mean, we could stop somewhere below here, but it wouldn't surprise me with how Aster is taking a lot of mind share. It wouldn't surprise me if more people continue to sell off and then we head back down here and take out these stops and then continue for higher for Hyperliquid, because it's definitely not over for Hyperliquid. This is definitely going to continue higher at some point, but I think it just needs time to cool off. And this whole run up from around $42 to around $60 was because of the whole stablecoin vote that was going on. And after that happened, the whales started to sell off and sold into that news. And so that is Hyperliquid. Not looking the best today, but neither is the entire market. Then lastly for today, we have Token 2049 in Singapore, draws 25,000, being the world's largest Web3 event. So this is going on in October 1st and 2nd, so coming up pretty soon. So this year's edition is expected to draw 25,000 attendees from over 160 countries, cementing its role as the global gathering for digital assets. For 2025, Token 2049 is expanding with two new highlights. The Token 2049 Origins Hackathon will be a 36-hour challenge that gathers 160 top developers from around the world. Hackathons are intense coding sprints where builders create new apps, tools, or platforms in a short time. This debut aims to spark innovation that could ripple across the industry. Also returning is Nexus, now the world's largest Web3 startup competition. Run in partnership with venture firms Dragonfly, Pantera, Maelstrom, Nexus connects young companies with investors looking for the next breakout project. Last year's winner, for example, raised millions in seed funding within weeks, showing how Token 2049 can be a launchpad for serious growth. Confirmed names include Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. of World Liberty Financial, Tommy Lee of Fundstrap, Vlad Tenev of Robinhood, Paolo of Tether, Balaji of the Network State, and Arthur Hayes of Maelstrom. So that is Token 2049, which is coming up. And a lot of times also, I will say, we have Korean Blockchain Week going on right now, which is kind of just finished, and Token 2049 going on next week. A lot of times at these huge crypto events, the market tends to dump. The market tends to sell off while everyone is at these events. It just seems to be an ongoing thing. And so I'm not surprised that we are selling off. It started when we actually started Korean Blockchain Week. So going into Monday, We sold off earlier this week as Korean Blockchain Week started, and I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of sell off until this token 2049 continues. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and the market just seems to love to dump when crypto events are going on, known as that their computers to continue to buy. So now, unfortunately, it does look like the market wants to head a little bit lower today. Maybe take out some of these stops below $110,000 or below $107,000. But I do think we ultimately resolve up higher. We just have to wait for that. So that's the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Also, make sure to check out this video here on the only crypto exchange you need in 2025.